Today on Centennial Sports TV, we'll find out if the Centennial Colts men's volleyball team could build off their season-opening win and improve to a 2-0 record. We'll also check in on the Centennial Colts women's volleyball team to see if they could earn their first W playing in front of their raucous home fans. And we'll explore a new 3-on-3 hockey league trying to get established in Ontario. And finally, we will recap the CN Tower climb for United Way.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Centennial Sports TV. I'm Alex Arthur, joined by my co-host Quinton Amundsen. And it's a great feeling to be back after a bit of a hiatus. I spent my reading week mostly in the Octagon watching MMA. Quinton, what'd you do on your reading week off?
Alex, I did something I never thought I would do in my life, not something I wanted to do. I had to be a mascot at a Junior A hockey game. It was kind of painful to get in that costume, that really uncomfortable shoes of Max, the railway inspector. My feet were killing me. I had to go on, pose with the nice families, do a ceremony, a puck drop. I'm just glad I didn't fall on the ice. I was fully expecting that I would, but I survived. I'm not really the best mascot in the world. I think the Colts have a better one than me.
What, did you say Max the train guy?
Max the train guy.
Bet he has nothing on Bolt the Colt.
I don't have nothing
Let's take a look at some highlights at the Colts volleyball team. Only the second year in the OCAA for both the men's and women's squad. Let's see how they fared out. We had the Progress campus where the Colts take on the Seneca Sting in just their second home opener to date. Tricelle Lynn Newby recorded the first point for the Colts, getting her first kill of the day. She would end the day with 20 total attacks. There was a lot of back and forth action in the first set. The final score would be a close one, but the Colts would end up taking it 25-23. Bolt the Colt was on hand to lend some entertainment in between sets, having an intense sword fight with a young Centennial fan. Hi, y'all.
Really good sword effects when the kid's giving a good fight.
Mary Pickoff would have herself some action on the attack line, recording 15 total attacks. This one was just too much for the Sting to handle. Ouch. Lizzie Bowers would keep things interesting, running underneath the net and getting the ball just over for the point. The Colts are excited about that one. Lots of action at the net. Lauren Watt just not being able to get her hit, the Colts block. It wasn't all about the hitting. Kadisha Powell-Graham had 3 key digs off the Sting blocks to give her team a chance for the win. But the Colts would take this one in 3 straight sets, recording their first win of the season. The women would have plenty of time to celebrate on the court before sticking around to watch the men's team take on the Sting. Both Seneca and Centennial are now 1-1 on the season. Although it may have been a disappointing night for Seneca, Nicole Boyd of the Sting had a standout performance, posting 5 kills, 34 total attacks, and 3 digs in her 3 sets played. The Colts are back on the court Wednesday, November 2nd against George Brown at 8 p.m.
Okay, Alex, so the women took care of the Sting. We'll see if the men are able to do so as well, as the men also hosted their home opener last Wednesday. And Seneca's David Lazares really got the visitors off to a good start and had himself a massive night, just a pillar of consistency, 19 kills, and he put up 39 total attacks. And the Colts seemed to be unprepared on the court to really try and take down Lazares, and the Sting took the set by a score of 25-15. Second set was a lot closer. Colts seemed to figure out their game plan, a lot better communication, and it was Milligan really being set up well by Filion, and then there were 6 kills and 17 attacks on the night. A lot of beautiful plays between that dynamic duo. And Milligan was just all over the place in this game. A huge dig to keep his team alive, and Lazares would not miss on the Sting's second chance though. Seneca would end up taking that second set as well, 25-19. So a little bit closer, but the Colts were at their best in the third set where they came out swinging, but the Sting came out blocking. The home team would have 3 attempts before Ethan Peter finally would get the point. The 12 kills and 37 total attacks. What a night for the kid. A lot of back and forth action. It could have gone either way. Reed would make no mistake, and they ended up being very fired up about it, taking the point. But the Sting would not make the same mistake, though. In the fourth set, they would come back and really work hard to make it 1-1, and ultimately salting away the game. And both Seneca men and also the Colts men are 1-1 on the season. So the men were not able to really get anywhere like the women were on this night, but they're also at a 500 start. They'll have an opportunity to bounce back tomorrow. And it was a really good, valiant comeback attempt. You have to credit Ethan Peter for having that great night on the scoreboard. That was 12 kills, the 37 attacks, and also those a lot of those digs there as well. So we'll see if they're able to bounce back November 2nd against Georgetown, 8 p.m.
Coming up on Centennial TV, we take a look at former NHL veteran Rick Hampton's new invention. And we also head to the mats to discuss mixed martial arts with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter Dave Campbell.
Kind of hungry.
It's upside down.
Yeah, no, I'm hungry. I'm so hungry.
Don't be hangry. Go to Brothers Pizza.
That's a good idea.
The popularity of 3-on-3 hockey has grown significantly as of late. A common pastime of Canadian children for decades, 3-on-3 hockey has now made its way to the professional ranks. Last season, the NHL changed its rules in favor of 3-on-3 play for all overtime periods. The NHL All-Star Game was also played in a 3-on-3 format last season. Which brings me to introduce the new professional hockey league, 3HL. A professional hockey league inspired by 3-on-3 play that will kick off in the new year.
Hi, my name's Justin Fox. I'm the founder of the 3HL Tour. My inspiration for the 3HL was obviously as a hockey fan, having played hockey my entire life, growing up in Canada here. Having watched the overtime in the NHL and the excitement that I saw from fans' perspective, the quickness and the speed of the game because of a lot of puck movement, puck control, and then increased opportunities, which I think is lacking in some of the other leagues. It's sort of bogged down with the bigger bodies. The ice hasn't gotten any bigger, but the players have gotten bigger and faster. So it's sort of bogged down with the open ice. There's a lot more opportunities, which obviously leads to more scoring, which as a fan is more exciting, more entertaining.
To generate interest for the league, Fox is taking to social media to target potential fans, and more importantly, potential players.
Heard about it on Facebook, saw it promoted for a little while, and then one of my buddies that's out here, Mitch Scott, told me to come out.
Justin was throwing out tweets like crazy, and one of them happened to catch my eye because it was about one of my buddies that I played with. Said I liked it. He shot me a message, and we just got a conversation going.
The skill level that we're targeting for the 3HL Tour is essentially a kind of, I don't know if coined the phrase, but aspiring and accomplished NHLers. It's the people that are coming back home and going to play CIS or who played NCAA and are now going to be a teacher, a lawyer, a firefighter, a plumber, an electrician Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, but now can have a chance to come out. They're extremely, talented hockey players, elite level hockey players, and this is a chance for them to come out, play hockey, have fun, entertain some fans, and at the same time, obviously, earn some money, potentially earn a portion of the cash purse, as well as we've sort of partnered with March of Dimes Canada and Prostate Cancer Canada, there's also an opportunity to give back through charitable organizations.
Participants of the Toronto tryout at the Mattamy Centre were asked what in their skill set makes them a fit for 3-on-3 play.
Well, it would have been my speed if I hadn't gained 40 pounds in the last year, but aside from that, awareness and just understanding the game and knowing where players are and how to get the puck to them.
My vision on the ice and my hands. It might sound a little bit odd being 3-on-3, you might use your legs a little bit more, but if you can use your mind and your hands, you don't have to be as fast or fly around the ice as much because you can let the game come to you.
When there's an overtime in the NHL or in the World Cup, their Team North America against whoever it was, Sweden, Twitter blows up. People just they're like the excitement level of the 3-on-3 is there because of the fast-paced end-to-end high-intensity open ice play.
Fox hopes the excitement on the ice will translate to fans when the first tournament begins on New Year's Day. For Centennial TV, I'm Mark Staniusz.
There are so many examples of NHL players becoming coaches, scouts, managers, and agents when they decide to hang up the skates. Not the case of Rick Hampton. He took the path less traveled by transitioning from defenseman to hockey equipment inventor to stay connected to the game. And as Brendan Ferreira reports, Hampton's love affair with inventing is holding strong after 40 years.
Rick Hampton has always been around hockey since he was a young boy. He played as a kid, he played in the NHL, and now he runs a hockey pro shop as well as a pickup hockey league. Though most people don't know, Rick is also an inventor.
I was always trying to figure out a better way to sharpen skates, and we created a skate sharpener, which we got a patent on. That was back in 1975, 76, I guess it was. So that's kind of where, from that point on, I remember telling, it was kind of weird. Some guy was saying to me, well, it's great to have a patent on stuff, but you got to be able to make this stuff and do that. He says the best things are things that are disposable, and it kind of struck a chord with me. So then I came up with this. It took a while, but I finally came up with an idea, which we eventually called Quick Blade. It was a replaceable skate blade system, right? So it was a pre-sharpened strip that came in a package and went onto your skate and fastened on. Sold about 15,000 chassis, which then equated to, probably 100,000 pairs of strips. But it wasn't enough volume to make it happen because the product itself, it was over $5 million in development into this thing, right? I had some big backers behind me on this thing. But in the meantime, I came up with another product, and we call it, it's Quick Blade as well. And it was a replaceable blade, but it was something that the pro shops can sharpen. And we did that about 5 years ago. I had 30 NHL players wearing it.
Rick may have had some bad luck with Quick Blade, but is hoping his new invention will be a different story.
I've got a new one. I have a patent pending on right now. It's a pin system for the nets, which I'm going to show you later. It's just basically a handle built into the crossbar. It lifts the pins up and down. It's more of a health and safety issue than it is, but it's a really good convenience. And I was just down in the dressing room now, and the guys are coming up and saying, hey, this is a fantastic idea. He says, we hate putting pins in the nets. We're always bending over, lifting the nets, and it's awkward. And we're afraid to pinch our fingers and things like that. So I think I've got the better mousetrap here. It's just I got to, we're just tweaking it right now. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks I'll have that thing ready to launch. It's really close. So yeah, that's what I do. I make things, I invent things, I build things.
As we wait for the release of Rick's new invention, one has to wonder if Rick will invent anything else. We'll just have to wait and see. Brendan Ferreira, Centennial Sports TV, King City.
Next, we take a look at the Toronto FC faithful and their hopes for their squad in its first ever playoff game, taking place at BMO Field. Our soccer insider, Jamie Johnstone, made it down to the pitch to soak in the atmosphere and interact with some Red fans, too.
I'm Jamie Johnstone, reporting for Centennial Television. We're outside BMO Field, where TFC are about to play the final match of the season. We're about to chat with some fans and ask them what they think about this season, who their favourite players are, and what their most memorable moments will be. BMO Field is right behind me, and we're about 5 minutes away from kickoff of the final day of the season. I had a chance to talk with some fans. They seem very optimistic about the playoffs and about next year. Should be a fun playoffs for everyone. That's it from us. Back to you guys in the studio.
As Alex mentioned on the top of the show, that one of the things he did during his week off was catching up with his good buddy Dave Campbell, who's trying to find a place and make a name for himself in the world of mixed martial arts as a Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter and trainer. And with more, here's Alex's report.
Blue belt fighter that participates in the sport of mixed martial arts. He trains out of Contact Kick Martial Artist Gym in Vaughan, Ontario. And Campbell is destined to make it on the scene of Canada's top amateur MMA fighters. Campbell dedicates hours of his week to his craft, to become a better fighter in the octagon, and to help train the younger generation of jiu-jitsu fighters. Campbell is trained by Steve Ferguson, a 5th degree black belt that has mastered jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, and Kyokushin karate, skills that Campbell one day hopes to possess.
On September 9th, I decided to take part in Kingston, Ontario's first MMA event. Unfortunately, I lost, but I learned a lot from that experience, a lot about being in the cage, even leading up to the fight. And going forward, I'm just looking to sharpen my skills, you know what I mean?
The future is bright for young Dave Campbell. Experience will be his best teacher going forward, and he will excel in the ring if he continues on his path of repetition and training.
Well, one aspect you can look at it is as self-defense, and that's how I first ever got into martial arts. You might be a younger kid in school, you might be getting picked on, you might be that little skinny guy, you might just be that little short guy or whatever in class. And so you take on a martial art to defend yourself, and ever since I was doing jiu-jitsu, I always felt as though I wanted to help people out, whatever skills I learned or whatever is really working for me. I always try and pass it on, so whatever knowledge I have, I pass it on to the younger generation. And in BJJ, they say iron sharpens iron, and another saying that they have in jiu-jitsu is the mats never lie. So when you're out there training in other martial arts, it might seem a certain way, but in jiu-jitsu, like when you're on the mats and you're getting armbarred or you're getting kimura or something, it's the real thing. You can't really like talk your way or BS your way out of that, you know what I mean?
Campbell seems prepared for his next fight. As long as he stays mentally focused, he'll fare out a lot better his next time out in the octagon. I'm Alex Arthur with the Centennial Sports TV update.
Coming up next on Centennial TV, we'll share our list of the 5 ugliest sports jerseys of all time, and we're going to find out what cause that inspired people to climb the stairs of the CN Tower.
Are your trees growing too tall and beautiful for your liking? Well, let the amateurs at Unemployed Sports Journalist Landscaping and Property Maintenance take care of it. Garbage cleanup, recycling, lawn sweeping. Yes, we even do lawn sweeping. Straightening of benches, shrub trimming, general gardening, hedge maintenance, and much, much more. Landscaping and property maintenance to turn your beautiful backyard into the weathered, rusted patch of mediocrity it really is. We even specialize in koi ponds when you need to add that stupid slow fish vibe to your new subpar property. Don't get caught swimming upstream. Call USJ Landscaping and Property Maintenance today.
Former minor hockey athlete Brandon Weeks was a member of the Clarington Toros as an amateur hockey player. He's now the head coach of the team and ready to gain success on the ice and bring enjoyment to his players, just as his coach did for him coming through the ranks.
The OMHA Clarington Toros offer competitive levels of hockey, from novice all the way up to midget, ranking from AE and single A to the AAA levels. Bowmanville native Brandon Weeks played in the Toros organization for 10 seasons before growing out of the system. After completing a degree in sports management at Brock University, Weeks has returned to his hometown to give back to the organization that has given him so much growing up. He is the assistant coach of the minor Bantam AA team. After starting the season 0-4, Weeks and the rest of his team have won 6 straight. He has had a big influence on the players so far, like Captain Giuliano Maglioli. Giuliano appreciates the trust that his coach has in him He says that Weeks has given him opportunities that no other coach has ever given him. Giuliano's favorite NHL player is Morgan Riley, and he tries to compare his style of calm and creative. His ultimate goal is to one day make the NHL. Forward Josh Bowman thinks Weeks is doing a great job in his first year of coaching experience. He says having a good coach not only helps him in hockey, but in life skills as well. His favorite players are PK Subban and Brendan Gallagher, and he attacks the net just like Gallagher, and like his teammate, Bowman hopes to one day make it to the big show. The Clarington Toros hope to keep their current winning streak going and go deep into the playoffs.
There was a bit of a milestone moment in the New York Islanders' history that took place about 3 weeks ago. And it was early October, 20 years ago, that the team debuted its fisherman jersey, which many consider to be one of the ugliest sports uniforms ever. And count my name on that list. I definitely think it's one of the most hideous jerseys ever. But Shoaib Ali has 5 that are even worse than that. And how about you enjoy looking at the hideousness of the worst sports jerseys of all time?
In the wide world of sports, fans can choose to represent themselves via their teams in a lot of ways, the most common of which are jerseys. While there are some fantastic ones, there are just as many that are not so great. Let's take a look at the 5 worst jerseys in North American sports. We're going to sneak in an honorable mention here with the Montreal Canadiens throwback to 1911. I think we can all appreciate some history, and while the Habs had the right idea, the barber pole jerseys look a little more like popsicles than anything else. Coming in at number 5 is the Philadelphia Eagles throwback to the 1940s. Here we have QB Donovan McNabb modeling for us, as well as our running back Brian Westbrook, but after a few seconds of looking at them, it rapidly becomes apparent why the Eagles changed to green and never, ever looked back. Sticking with the state of Pennsylvania, coming in at 4 we have the Pittsburgh Steelers throwback to 1934. These Bumblebee-esque inspired jerseys are more reminiscent of the Transformers than anything else, and their forced smiles tells me this team photo is more than a little manufactured. At number 3, we have the Phoenix Coyotes. After moving from Winnipeg, I suppose the front office felt they needed to have the desert put their stamp on the team with a nice, slick new jersey. Instead, we seem to have got Picasso's interpretation of what would happen if they crossed a Terminator with a coyote. Even Captain Shane Doan doesn't look too pleased. Moving back to football for number 2, we have the Green Bay Packers and their 1937 throwbacks. These things may have worked when players wore leather helmets and barely any pads, but not so much in the modern era. Running back Eddie Lacy is laughing, but I guarantee it's not about his choice of clothing. Coming in at number 1, we have the 2013 Notre Dame basketball jerseys. Who designed these? Honestly, it looks like someone tripped over a bucket of neon green paint, looked at the mess, and said, Eureka! Truly, these are the worst jerseys, though maybe we can forgive them. They're just in college, after all. Next time you go to the store, try and avoid any of these top 5 worst jerseys for your own sake.
Those are some pretty bad jerseys. Not as bad as this North Toronto jersey behind me. But next, an event unique to Toronto, the CN Tower climb for United Way recently took place, where thousands of people made the 1,776-step climb. Our own Shoaib Ali went down there to check it out.
I'm here in front of the CN Tower where the annual stair climb is underway. The charitable event for the United Way gives thousands of Torontonians a chance to stretch their legs in ways they might not have done before. Let's take a look inside.
So, you know, everybody has their own reason for running. But what unites everybody who is part of this event is that they care about their community and they want to make it a better place. We think that's really cool.
Well, it's all for a good cause. It's for raising money for the United Way, which is a great organization here in Toronto, does a lot of positive community work. And I exercise on Sunday mornings anyway, so why not combine two things? Yeah.
To raise funds for the United Way. They do a lot of great work in my community, especially supporting the Boys and Girls Club of East Scarborough, and also to challenge myself.
Okay, so something like this is really important, right? Like I said, about 8,000 people, they climb. They raise about $1.25 million. At the end of the day, though, it's not about the money that they raise, it's about what the money does. So United Way invests in a network, about 220 agencies across Toronto and York region. Makes a difference in people's lives every single day.
Yeah, that tower climb's always a great sports event, happens every year, a great cause. And it's just one of many sports events that we've been able to cover that's been great the last couple of months in the GTA. And it's kind of hard to believe that we're going to be coming to the end of our coverage on Centennial Sports TV for the year. And I think a great way to kind of celebrate the last little while is for our team members to share some of their favorite sports memories with you.
I'm Keegan Matheson. My favorite sporting memory is the 2003 Pictou County Junior High School Hockey Championship. We went into overtime because I took my third penalty of the game as the goalie. The game got tied up, but my best friend scored the overtime winner, and it was the last year that all of the schools were individual before they made a super school. So it was really important to me. The New Glasgow Panthers, 2003 Pictou County Junior High School Hockey Champions. It means something.
Hi, I'm Hannah Carver, and my favorite sports moment of all time happened this last summer when we were playing on our Toronto Sports and Social Club softball team, the regular Spojos, and we won 3rd place. I know, great time.
I'm Callum Ferguson, and I'm a big NFL fan, but you know what? I'm a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, so there's not that many great moments I have in recent memory of that team, but a team that I have a lot of great memories from was the London Silly Nannies on the Fantasy Gridiron in the Greek Assassins Fantasy Football League. They took home the trophy last year, and it was a big win off the back of guys like Devonta Freeman, Allen Robinson. It was my favorite sporting moment in my life, also won me a little cash, and it was just the best moment of my entire young adult life.
Hello, my name's Curt Macgillivray, and my favorite sporting moment is King of the Ring 1998, The Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in a Cell, when Mankind climbs up to the top of the steel structure and The Undertaker proceeds to throw him off, probably like 40 feet to the ground. Mankind crashes through the announce table. For a second as a kid, I thought he died. He ended up living. He actually finished the match, only to be thrown through the steel cage again onto the ring, and that time I actually thought he did die. Again, he didn't. Undertaker got the win though, and just the carnage in the match was hilarious to watch.
Hey, I'm Kyle Cantlon. My favorite sporting memory has to be 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Olympics. Team Canada beat the US 5-2 in the gold medal game. I had a hockey game myself that day, and during every intermission we were late getting back onto the ice because we were watching the game in the room, and that's sick to me to this day. That's my favorite memory.
My name is Shoaib Ali, and my favorite sporting moment, if I had to pick just one, it would probably be when I went to New England, Foxborough, Massachusetts, to watch the Patriots play the Saints. And I know it's a meaningless regular season game, but Brady threw the game-winning touchdown to Kembell Tompkins with 2 seconds left in the game, and the entire stadium went absolutely nuts. I think that would be my favorite moment.
I'm Lauren Cascagnette, and my favorite sports moment ever was when Carey Price represented Team Canada at the 2014 Sochi Olympics, only because I got to share my love with him with the rest of the country when he wasn't wearing a Montreal Canadiens jersey.
I'm Kyle Forster, and my favorite sports moment of all time is Game 6 of the 2013 NBA Finals, when Ray Allen made that miraculous three-pointer off the Chris Bosh rebound, which would send the game into overtime, and the Heat would go on to win the series in 7 games against the San Antonio Spurs.
I'm going to have to agree with Lauren. It was just absolutely great to watch that 2014 team, Alex. You know, Carey Price was really definitely a big part of that. You know, you're a former student and athlete yourself, so I know you have a lot of sports memories. What would you have to say is ranks high on your list? I know it's probably a hard thing to...
Yeah, that's a tough one. There's too many to say, Quinton. But if I had to pick high school basketball, defeating Corey Joseph and the Pickering Trojans, they were ranked #1 in the country that year, and they only lost 2 games that season, so that probably takes the cake for me.
Yeah, you got to go with a good upset story, and there's a really good sports memories that we shared on the show today, so it's just been great that we were able to share those with you. And just on behalf of you, Alex, and everyone here at Centennial Sports TV, I'm Quinton Amundsen. Good night.